How you doing, Raven fans, Oriole fans, to the Ravori Sports Conversation? We got two interesting guests tonight, so I just want to thank these guys for coming in. I want to thank all of you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, why haven't you? Go ahead and go to the Ravori Sports Podcast on all of our platforms as well, especially you right there watching on the YouTube. Definitely check us out here. YouTube is growing almost 700 now on Facebook. We appreciate all of you out there. Genesis Notary Services in Winchester, Virginia. If you know, you know. So that's our notary business, and we are very proud that that's been growing as well. Harris Legal Shield as well. So if you do need legal insurance, I can't emphasize how cool it is to have legal insurance. If you have any legal issues, especially you business owners, those of you right now trying to collect money, it's a great resource for you. As well, let's bring them in. Bring them out. Bring them out. So these guys, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys who are Raven fans, these guys need no introduction. This is the lunch break hot take crew here who is kind enough or crazy enough, however you want to put it, to join us here as well and talk a little Ravens football with us tonight. Jose and Brodny, I was just telling y'all off camera here. I feel like I know y'all. I watch y'all all in the morning, all the time, man. You guys don't hold back on content creators either. I was researching. I was just watching y'all stream. I was shocked to see Bobby Trossett actually agreed to talk to you. I was like, that's
the funny thing. We didn't invite him. Right. He asked to come on the show. We're like, okay.
Y'all were killing him for a while. Like, oh, he actually showed up. All right.
We were very pleasant with Bobby. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it went well. You know,
I'm just saying, but I'm saying y'all were getting him good though. That's probably why.
Yeah. It was an experience. I'll say that. I'll say that.
All right, so let's get to football, man. We got training camp going on right now. For the Ravens all across the NFL. Couple scares this week, right? Nate Wiggins, Zay Flowers. Before that, Flowers was back on the field today, looks like, and Marlon Humphrey yesterday. However, we've had an injury-free camp. I mean, relatively speaking, compared to what we've had all those years with John Harbaugh. Biggest concern as far as going into camp is well, doesn't seem like a lot of undrafted rookies like usual breaking out here as well.
Yeah, well, I'll say this about the injury. I thought I heard earlier that they're both expected back at practice next week. So big sigh of relief right there. So I'm happy about that. I still think the biggest concern for me is something that me and B have been talking about since the offseason, and that's the center position in particular. I mean, the offensive line, we're still waiting to see how they're all going to pan out. But the center position, like, we have no idea who's going to be the starter there. And, our position always was to pay Tyler Linderbaum. I don't care if he's making $27 million. Like, what do you got to spend your money on? Like, pay the man and shore up that position. Like, is it not worth it to protect your MVP quarterback? You know what I mean? So now here we are. We got Ethan Pochik and a couple other ragtag group of people there, and we're hoping that as a whole, like, we can, we'll have the perfect unit there. Now, I will say, Dwayne Lefford, he's got a great reputation of putting together, like, good O-lines, and I watched the Ravens wire like a bunch of people did yesterday, and I love that how detailed he is. I mean, he was coaching up Ronnie Stanley, and Ronnie Stanley seemed very receptive to him. So, like, people buy into the coaching there, which helps. So maybe that'll transfer over to the O-line. But at the end of the day, you still need talent. So that remains to be seen.
Go ahead.
I agree with Jose. The O-line by far the biggest concern for Baltimore. Coming in behind that would have been the wide receiving core or the pass catchers, but looks like Jacoby Lane's been stepping up, so maybe that'll be taken care of come week one. But I mean, just criminal from Eric DeCosta to let the O-line just devolve the way he has from what he inherited.
Yeah.
The O-line, if you were watching my content, I was killing them more than ever have getting Linderbaum go. even made me angrier. It's one thing to let him go because you didn't want to pay. Where was it in the draft? You got to be kidding me. Why did you like if that was the idea is you can't afford it, then he said in the draft presser, hey, we're going to go ahead and the two guys we wanted, they went in the first 2 rounds earlier than we thought. Are you kidding me? You don't have a center. Why didn't you just do it then?
Yeah.
That's kind of anti-Eric the way he thinks. Value. Now, the guy he did pick looks like a star so far, Jacoby Lane. But yeah, the O-line is a big concern. Haven't really read a lot about the O-line either. It's been kind of like curiously left out a lot of the training camp reports as well.
I heard early on, I heard Venga was pretty much as advertised, and he pancaked a couple people, and that kind of gets glossed over because we expect that. I've heard a couple of things here and there, like Rosengarten's names come up, John Simpson's names come up, not in a good way though, but not too concerned either. You know what I'm saying? Like I expect the defense to dominate the offense in these practices. Like that's where we invested it, right? That's where we invested the money. But I don't know. You're right. Like they've been pretty quiet for the most part, and maybe that's a good thing. Like we haven't heard that like they're looking poor. So I'll take that. But
there was also the report, just today or yesterday, that Emory Jones is going to be taking snaps at left guard.
That's right.
Which to me is all positive. If you can get John Simpson out of the lineup, anything to get John out of back onto the sidelines is a good thing, right? And that's the guy you drafted in the 3rd round. So you would expect him to be kind of challenging for that starting spot. So if you can roll out there week 1 with Emory on one side and Venga on the other, they should be in good shape. But it just remains to be seen.
Well, at guard, I'm not too worried. I think Venga, is probably as advertised. I'm a little bit higher on John Simpson than you guys. I think he'll at least be serviceable. You haven't even had that.
It can't be worse than what we had last year.
I think that's an upgrade. Pollock, I think, is going to be the center if he's healthy enough. I think that's the only reason they're even saying center competition.
Bullock? Well. You mean Corey Bullock?
No, Ethan Pollock is going to be the center.
Poachik. Yeah.
Bullock, I'm not even sure he makes the team.
Yeah, probably.
I'm not. With all the centers they brought in, it's possible
because Javon is Ledford's guy, brought him from Atlanta. Pinter's the only other guy with any kind of experience.
I forgot about Pinter. Yeah.
So, I don't think Bullock is going to be around.
Yeah. So. Yeah, you're right.
Another concern that I have as well, and I can hear Hendo, and he's not even here, talking about how Mark Andrews is struggling. I can hear his voice right now. The tight end is a concern a little bit for the first time, and I can remember. You got Andrews. I'm not that concerned about Andrews, but behind him, like you got really not much there inexperience-wise. You got 2 rookies.
Mm-hmm.
You got
Smythe,
who's really not a pass catcher. I think he's more of a player. Are you guys concerned about that as far as the tight end room?
Well, as long as the wide receivers step up, no, I'm not that worried about it. Right? Like Mark Andrews was more of a main target in the past, and mainly because we just didn't have great talent at wide receiver. But we got Zay Flowers, who had a great year last year, and we expect them to do even better this year. Hopefully Rashad Bateman bounces back, but Jacoby Lane is a talk of training camp, and we got Elijah Surratt there too. So there's higher expectation from the wide receiver room altogether, and they do step up. The tight ends don't have to play as big of a role, so I'm not as worried about it.
I think that tight end for me is not a huge concern. That's one of the areas that Baltimore has always been able to find talent. And then Mark's not what he used to be, but he's not completely washed or anything. So like they won't need Hibner or Cuevas to really step up until the playoffs, because we know Mark doesn't travel with the team for playoff games. But by that point, they'll need one of those rookies to have established themselves. But they'll have all season to kind of work into it. So I think they'll be all right at tight end.
I think that's somewhat of a concern. I do agree with you, but I don't think but the Ravens are used to having the best tight end room in the league. I mean, forever now. You had Shannon Sharp, you had Todd Heath, you've had Mark Andrews, you had solid play.
Yeah, Pitta.
So this is like biggest question marks. I mean, we've had in a long time. One more question mark I think that is going on, and obviously the Lamar contract. Where is it? Why is this taking so long this should be easy at this point, right? I mean, is it just me, or why is it the Lamar deal hasn't happened?
You would think it'd be pretty easy. It's easy
even
for
now
everybody else.
compared to what it be before. I don't think there's any question, right? He's an elite quarterback at this point. No question. So what's the hold up here? What do you guys think?
It's got to be this one you had to point the finger at Steve at Bisciotti. The owners have to sign off on those huge contracts for quarterbacks, right? Because they have to have the bonus money, put it in escrow and all that. And, Eric can't just make that happen. But I don't think that Eric is contributing positively to the situation either. I think that when you come into the offseason and you need to rebuild your O-line, you need help at wide receiver, and you kind of shy away from that, I think that it might make Lamar a little bit more reluctant to just come in and get a deal done. But ultimately, that falls on Bisciotti. He has to approve the deal for Lamar. He should be, right now, then when he signs his deal, he should be the highest paid quarterback in the league. But that's something that has to go through Steve's office.
And I think the plan is to make him the highest paid quarterback, not just in the league, in NFL history at the time of his signing. But all we can do is speculate. But one of the reasons could be even deeper than that. It could go back to his first contract where he was trying to get a fully guaranteed contract, and the whole league colluded to not sign him so he could sign a deal with the Ravens. So I mean, now there's more evidence that's come out about that's actually the case that happened. And I don't think he's looking to leave, but maybe he wants to make them sweat a little bit. And the reality is this: he holds all the cards. They can't trade him. They can't franchise tag him. And if he doesn't get a deal done this year, going into the next offseason, he has all the cap space, right? So he's holding all the cards, and there's no rush for him to sign a new deal. He can wait until he feels comfortable. And, there's a brand new coaching staff. And maybe he's looking to see, how they look and how he feels about the team before he commits. But I do think ultimately he will commit.
Why don't they have a better relationship? I think that's kind of factoring in. At the presser, when they hired Jesse Minter, and I distinctly remember this, the face of the franchise, and he corrected that reporter quick. He's my quarterback. He's not the face of the franchise. Steve Bisciotti seemed to, even to this day, have a great relationship with Ray Lewis. When Ray Lewis was the best player, they were hanging out together and things like that. I don't know if he has a relationship with Lamar Jackson like he does. And I think
you talking about Minter?
Well, I'm talking about Bisciotti.
Oh, Bisciotti?
Bisciotti. I don't think they have ever hung out or anything like that. I just think about Tom Brady and Robert Kraft, just use it for example. I mean, if you'd have said something about Tom Brady in front of Robert Kraft, you wouldn't have had a job. I'm not sure that's the case, that they have the same relationship, that he has a relationship with Bisciotti or DeCosta as well. What do you guys think about that? Why could that be the holdup in part?
I kind of feel like it's partly it's just, I mean, Steve Bisciotti he's an older guy. Lamar's very young. Yeah, I think they probably don't relate on a certain level, right? But also, Lamar seems like a very, very private guy. We know that is not the case with Ray Lewis. Ray wants to be out. He wants to be front and center. He wants everything to be about Ray, and Lamar's kind of been the opposite of that. So I don't want to say they have a bad relationship, but I think it's just maybe the personality's not meshing in that same way.
Yeah. Also, they've never had a star quarterback. They've never had a superstar quarterback like this. They've always leaned towards defense, and you could tell the way they go about building the team. They still try to build it like Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Haloti Ngata and the Suggs and all of them are still here. And this is a different era of football, and they clearly just don't know how to build around a franchise quarterback, a superstar quarterback. So that could be playing into it as well.
You started with the defense. Let's talk about the defense now. Some people overreacting to the defense. This is kind of how it is at this point in camp, right? Defenses tend to be ahead of the offense.
Yeah.
Excited about the defense, are we not? I mean, in terms of that, you get Trey Hendrickson, you get Zion Young, Mike Green's in another year. You got to get Matt Abuke back, which I think is huge. This is the strength of your football team. That's the defense. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, no, I'm excited. I think that's where the money's at. they put all the money into that side of the ball and high draft picks, and I think they do have talent. We like Zach Orr, we don't like to talk bad about Zach Orr, but it was a poor job last year, and it was clear nobody was trying to throw him under the bus because they seem like they like him and all, and ultimately it falls on John Harbaugh, right? But they just didn't understand what the assignments were, lack of communication there. It was just a lot of confusion, and this year that ain't the case. And you hear players talk about it. You hear how Anthony Weaver is making sure they understand what's going on. Jesse Minter, you hear Marlon Humphrey talk about how he takes over some of the film study sessions and things like that. So you hear from all the coaches. All the coaches it's like one voice. They're all preaching the same thing, right? And that's communication. Make sure everybody understands what's going on, and making sure that players are talking to each other on the field and all that stuff. So when you know what you're doing out there, you move a lot faster. And I think they're going to be playing without having to think about it when the season starts. And you're going to see a much, much better defense this year.
Yeah, I fully expect the defense to be top 3 in the league this year. They've got talent, and now they have a guy who, was a great defense coordinator himself with the Chargers. And then you had Anthony Weaver, who's a very experienced coach. And that was a big part of the problem. It wasn't just Zach Orr. They lost everybody with any kind of a coaching experience, right?
Yeah.
So, they've got the staff back. They've got the talent. So I expect them to be a top defense, but I'm going to still say the strength of the team is the guy who is the 3-time MVP, right? That's the side of the ball that the strength of. You got Lamar there. You've got Hall of Fame Derrick Henry. You've got Zay, who hasn't even hit his prime yet. He's just going to keep getting better. And if Jacoby Lane is what he looks like, even a part of it, because I don't expect him to come out and dominate as a rookie. That's not fair to expect that of him. But if he comes out and he's a consistent contributor, they are going to be extremely, extremely difficult to stop, especially since they have an offensive coordinator probably for the first time in Lamar's tenure.
Yeah,
I mean, no disrespect to Todd Monken, he's all right, but this guy,
I defend Todd Monken. I think
offensive mind,
Yeah, I don't think Todd Monken did a terrible job. I think he was handcuffed by John Harbaugh. Right. I think John Harbaugh had his hands in too many things, and he just didn't know enough about offense or defense. We went through too many offensive coordinators for us to play the same way in the playoffs, where we're not handing the ball off to our running backs, and you know what I'm saying. Like it just happened too many times. With too many
different coordinators were doing the same stuff. Let's do it.
Yeah, so I'm like. That's Harbaugh, putting his hands in things, and he has no business doing that. I don't think Jesse Minter is going to do that with Declan Doyle.
Declan Doyle should have a freer hand. He came here. People say he's never been a coordinator. He has been a coordinator. He was a coordinator last year with the Bears, but this is officially his first year really calling plays now because he's got under a defensive coach and he's running the offense. What do you guys think of Jesse Minter so far? I've been very impressed by what I've seen with Jesse Minter so far.
Me too.
So the players seem really energized, really excited about what they're getting from Jesse Minter.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, so he seems like he's really in control of things. The players are very, like you said, they're very energized, they're very excited. It doesn't have that feel like, man, this guy may not know what he's doing, right? Like it seems like they came in and they kind of hit the ground running as a coaching staff. So it's been very, very positive all the way around this offseason.
Oh yeah. I think when you see like these clips of them interacting with players, like you see these Ravens Wired, and like you'll watch things like Hard Knocks, like these aren't actors. What you see is what you get. You know what I'm saying? And like you could tell early on which coaches don't got it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just clear. It's as clear as day that everybody's buying in to what the entire coaching staff is saying. And so I will give EDC props for hiring a mentor, and props to mentor for putting together this staff. Like this team, like they look like they're ready to run through a wall. So I mean, we still got to play the games, but we're off to a good start.
Yeah. Brodny, for you real quick here. I think the most interesting player, I think, in the whole National Football League this season, for better or worse, might be Bryce Young. One of my favorite college players at Alabama. Tremendous what he was able to accomplish. I still don't know if he's good or bad. After 4 years, I'm still – so I think it's going to be fascinating to watch. I still when I was ranking quarterbacks, I had him still in the even though he's a fourth-year guy, in the pending tier, like with a lot of the young guys. What do you think of Bryce Young here so far?
Bryce, he's had a very rough go of it to begin with. His rookie year was awful. The first half of his second year was awful. But that second half of that season, he really turned things around. They started off slow last year, but then he kind of stabilized, and he showed the biggest thing about him is that he will make the plays that you need him to make when you need him to make them, right? And that's one of the best qualities that you can have. Now in Carolina, if you haven't been following the Panthers over the last decade, it's been a sad story a little bit. They've had some terrible GMs, they've had some bad coaches, and the roster was in just an awful shape. They had
the owner's kind of crazy too, man.
The owner is
kind of like a hothead, bro.
Yuck.
Right.
Yeah. He threw the drink on the Jaguars fan. So the roster. I'm sorry. What? 1 second. I'm finding out of work now. My bad.
Yeah. Let me say this though.
Go ahead.
Oh, you want to finish your thought? Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, they've been in such a terrible state roster wise that it wasn't a place where a quarterback could come in and be successful, right?
Yeah.
But now they've got Dan Morgan, they've got Dave Canales, they built the O line, they've got them some weapons, they've built up the D line, and right now you can see him kind of really blossoming, right? He's being more of a vocal leader. He's had the best camp of his career, and with him and Tetaroa, that connection is going to be something special, I think. So I think if you're looking to see how the Bryce Young story ends, it's going to be a very happy ending this season.
Yeah, unfortunately, like for Bryce Young, he got off to. I mean, he went to an organization that had to make two transitions, right? Like there, it was two quick rebuilds because who was the GM before that?
They had before it was Dave Gettleman, and then they went to Scott Fitterer. Did not last very long at all. That's the dude who traded, multiple draft picks, a second-round pick for Sam Darnold. Then he traded for Baker Mayfield after that, and
then like they brought in Frank Reich as the head coach, and we did think that was going to work out because like he brought in a lot of coaches with names, and we thought, this staff experience is going to work out. Turned out to be a complete disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't build that team right, and Bryce Young struggled his rookie year because of it. And then you bring in Dave Canales, Dan Morgan takes over as GM, and they're on the same page. Clearly, they're on the same page. They have a plan, and I love how they build their team out from the line out. That's how I always feel you should build a team, offense and defense. Start from the line and build outwards. And they immediately started addressing the O-line. And yes, he did struggle a little bit that first half of the second year, and then turned it on the second year. And then last year, he played better, but you want to see more consistency. And I think this year, I mean, they say he's having a great camp, and I fully believe this is going to be his best year.
And one of the things too is Dave Canales was the offensive coordinator in Tampa Bay, the one that kind of resurrected Baker Mayfield's career, got him that initial contract that he is very unhappy about now, but that's neither here nor there. He brought over Brad Idzik.
Did he sign that contract?
No. But he got the initial contract he got when he was playing for Dave. But he brought with him Brad Idzik, who had been coaching with him, I believe, in Seattle and Tampa Bay. And he's kind of turned over play calling duties to Idzik. He realized over the last couple of years that he was not able to really manage the entire team and focus on the offense, right? So he went ahead and said, you know what, I'm going to give that up. Idzik's ready to go. They brought in Daryl Bevel as kind of a consultant who's a very experienced coach who he also worked with in Seattle. So I like that he's able to look at himself and say, hey, you know what, this isn't working. We're going to make a change here. And I'm going to let somebody else kind of take the reins. I know that's not something y'all have seen in Baltimore recently with the, 18 years of we just going to do it my way.
Yeah.
So it's encouraging to see the coaches be able to self-scout and try to correct. And I think that the offense is going to get rolling this year, and with the added talent and the new coordinator calling the plays as well.
Kind of what I said about Bryce Young last year, and I mean this in a weird way as a compliment, I guess, but they kind of took the ball out of his hands. You're going to stop doing stuff that's crazy stuff. You're only going to do basic stuff. You're going to throw to your tight ends. You're going to throw to your running backs, and you're just going to do simple stuff. We're going to run the ball, and then when you have something, boom, we have big play, and that's kind of what works. Like, so they're not having them do too much, and it's worked out. That division is very winnable too. Division is very winnable. I mean, there isn't any really good team
for Carolina. It is
in that division. Carolina, the only team I don't see is Atlanta in that division winning it. I mean, they may not even be starting Penix from what we hear. So
yeah, Tua is the starter right now. It doesn't matter which one of them plays. It really doesn't.
I mean, that's so that division is.
I disagree a little bit. I think I like Penix. His problem is, he's Mr. Glass, right? He stays hurt. But if either one of them, can play solid, they have a lot of talent down there. They have a lot of talent, and I think they could surprise some people. They could, but do I expect it? No. But I wouldn't be shocked if they played better than we expect.
One other thing here, real quick here. Where do you guys rate the Ravens in terms of being in the AFC now? It's kind of harder. Like last 5 years, elite team, top 5, top 4. Now it's didn't win the division, 8-9, new coach, got some returning guys. You still have Lamar. Where would you say the Ravens are in the AFC hierarchy right now? I'm gonna put my purple shades on every time and say they're one of the best teams in the AFC. But at the same time, like last year exposed them for what they really are without Lamar Jackson. Like, they're a bad team, right? They just, especially on offense, they just didn't invest enough on offense. But this offseason and a new coach, and we got a lot of young players, we really have to wait and see. But right now, I would say they're one of the top teams in the league. Everybody's healthy, and I think Minter, Doyle, Weaver, all of them, they're really going to put the onus on the players. Like, don't just lean on Lamar Jackson to make something happen. You have to do your part. And then you already see with Jacoby Lane, like, he's showing you that, he wants to be the guy. Zay Flowers always had that passion. So I feel like we're going to see a team that executes better. Hopefully they protect Lamar better. And if you do those things, we are the best team.
All right. Well, Jose got the purple shades on, so I'm gonna give you the truth. Coming into the season, and obviously anything can change at it. But coming into the season, Baltimore is second in the AFC behind Denver. That's it. Second in the AFC behind Denver. I think the rest of the teams have taken a little bit of a step back. The top teams. I don't trust New England at all to repeat their success. Buffalo's got a lot of the same questions that Baltimore.
Yeah, they do.
has.
Yeah,
and I think that Denver, with the defense that they have, and they just picked up Jalen Waddle. to be their de facto number one receiver. And I hate to say it because I hated this dude when he was at Auburn initially, but Bo Nix is much better than I thought he would be in the NFL. So I think Denver right now is in that top spot, and I put Baltimore right behind them.
Well, Bo Nix, I think, is – I don't want to say he's in the only place he'd have success, but he's in with Sean Payton, who he kind of fits almost perfect.
Yeah.
Short stuff like the whole Drew Brees offense is perfect for what Bo Nix does. And Bo Nix is good in the critical situation. He's not good all 4 quarters. I kept saying that, but he's good in the 4th quarter. That makes sense. Like kind of like Joe Flacco was. Joe Flacco, like when you needed it, Joe Flacco was really good at the time. He wasn't good all the time for 4 quarters, but he was good in when you needed it as well. I do not have the Ravens as high as you guys. I have them like I'm surprised you guys didn't mention the Texans as a team.
The Texans?
That really goes with what you think of CJ Stroud. How you feel about that? Because that defense is, I think,
amazing,
best in the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't think that or Denver is best defense in the league.
See, I CJ Stroud, like, I mean, I think he's going to play better this year. But I mean, like we saw what he did in the playoffs, man. Like, I mean, there's something I don't know. Like, I don't know if he's going to get it back or not. I can't put him up that high until I see him turn that corner. You know,
I think he's going to bounce back, but he's not the only question mark in Houston. Like I said, the defense is phenomenal. Love the coach, but is Nico Collins going to stay healthy? Is Tank going to stay healthy? Like they have a lot of health issues in there with their playmakers,
and they struggle with the O-line too to get that right.
And then it just comes down to the fact that if Houston comes up against Baltimore, I'm gonna ride with Lamar every time.
Yeah.
So, hopefully CJ turns it around. Though I like CJ.
I mean, that guy John Harbaugh. I think the Texans was the start of John Harbaugh getting fired because I'm serious. I mean, because he got booed. You remember that I showed the video. He got booed off the field, just terrible. I've never seen that, like where because I forget what the score was. They lost by like 30 points or whatever.
It was a lot to a little.
Yeah,
I think you're right though. I think that was the beginning, and I told B that, right? Like that was the first time where, okay, Lamar's out, but everybody else is pretty much healthy. And you're playing the Texans at home, you should be able to at least compete. And they got blown off the field. You know what I'm saying? Like they looked awful. And I think that's where Steve Bisciotti started looking at his team like, what's going on here? And, even when they fired Harbaugh at the end of the season, you had the press conference. Bisciotti made it clear that he was not happy with where the O-line was, and I think that's one of the things he discussed with EDC. Like, hey, like the way we got a lot of draft picks, and guys aren't developing, especially on the O-line. Like, I got to see better next season.
Well, the stubbornness of the O-line was completely insanity. I don't know what. I mean, Voorhees, I almost understand. Not completely, but I almost understand. Filet absolutely was. I've never seen like Shannon Sharp and Ocho on Nightcap talk for 20 minutes about a guard, except for when they talk about Filet. That's how bad. I mean, they ran out of nicknames, bro. I mean, that's
like Coach Evans said. Coach Evans would tell you like Voorhees was actually worse than Falele. Just Falele had the more clippable moments.
Worse in a more spectacular fashion.
Voorhees should have never been out there, and that's something me be pointing out beforehand too. Like this guy never actually earned his way onto the field. It's just Harbaugh has his guys that he just he's just stuck on and he's stubborn about, and he feels like he can will them to be great. And while Falele is standing there just looking around, not knowing what play it is, Voorhees is over on the other side on his back, right? Like he got beat often. Like they were terrible, and they're still both young, and maybe they move on to be better players later on. But when you're trying to compete, man, like you can't just leave them out there and hope they get better on the job. Like you have to get guys out there that can play right now. And Harbaugh just couldn't make any adjustments. He wouldn't move on from Zach Orr as a coordinator, even though they're clearly struggling. Like it was just too many things that he just kind of just let fall to the wayside because he was comfortable He was lazy. And even EDC was being lazy about it because Lamar had lifted him up so many times. But when Lamar was hurt and couldn't carry the team anymore, that exposed everything.
Real quick, I wasn't going to ask, but how do you think John's going to do in New York?
Terrible.
Wow.
Awful. And that's not 100%.
Why do you think? Because
it's not 100% on him.
Their coaching has been terrible.
Yeah. Their roster.
I mean, John Harbaugh is probably, like we just talked about the guards, better than what they had. You don't think he has it anymore as a coach?
Does it? One, no, I don't. But two, even if he did, and you're rolling out with Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo, it's not going to go well for you. So, like, that's what they gave him to work with, and he's in a pretty good division. Like, they are the clear worst team in that division, right? Like, there's no question.
I don't. I think Dallas. Dallas isn't any good. I think Dallas is 8-8 for life, like NWO for life. Like, they're
that's better than the Giants, though.
The Commanders might be good, but I'm probably so worried about injuries on that team. I mean, they've already lost Tunzel. I'm just not as confident.
The Giants almost lost their starting running back because he thought he could do a backflip. Like and their quarterback leads with his head.
Yeah.
You know,
it's not, and their number one wide receiver, who knows if he has a knee anymore.
Dart has potential, but we can't call him a good quarterback yet, right? Like, you see some potential there. Cam Scatterbo, solid when he's healthy. But I mean, look, John Harbaugh has been blessed with generational talent his entire career, right? He inherited a team with a defense that didn't need to be coached at all. In fact, when they won the Super Bowl, they pretty much told him, we're not going to do it your way. You don't know what you're talking about. We know what we're talking about, and we're going to do it our way, and we're going to win. And it worked, right? And then weeks, or 1 week, according to some reports, before he was going to get fired, he decided to start Lamar Jackson, and that changed the whole trajectory of the rest of his time here in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. But yes, like Bisciotti saw this back in 2018 that he needed to move on, but Lamar came in there and saved his job essentially. So I don't think there's players on the Giants team that can do what Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Lamar Jackson did for John Harbaugh.
Yeah, it's like Patino, where you say, Larry Bird ain't walking through that door and all that. Yeah, Ed Reed ain't walking through that door. Lamar Jackson ain't walking through that door. Lawrence Taylor ain't walking through that door. Like, you got right. What you got. Yeah, you just traded Dexter Lawrence. Like,
yeah, I would have done that.
Well, he's not putting up with it from he wasn't on board. He's not putting up with it from veteran play. That's what older coaches do. They're not going to do that.
But that's always been John's. That's the biggest problem with him is he can't manage, any kind of strong personalities, right? You got to put up with it. If they're talented and they show up on game day, you deal with it as long as you're winning. Like, I mean, that's what the Eagles did with AJ Brown, right? Up until they're able to trade a first round pick and essentially replace him with Mekhi Lemon. And we'll see if Mekhi Lemon is good enough, but potentially a good talent there, but. Yeah, they don't care if he's complaining about getting the ball. We're trying to compete for a Super Bowl, right? And as long as he's going out there and making plays, we'll deal with it. That's what you have to do when you're trying to win. It's not about you, but Harbaugh has a fragile ego, and anybody that questions that, he has to get them out of there. So I think Malik Neighbors is going to be gone too for that same reason. I don't think he's going to keep Malik Neighbors.
Yeah. So yeah, somebody came in. Let's talk about you guys real quick. Let's break hot take. Where does the name come from? You're probably tired of answering that question, but I have no idea. Like, when I watch you guys, it's like I see it's like this is about. First time I saw it, this is about football. Like
I'm surprised more people don't ask. To be honest, right? Like when we first decided to start up a podcast, I was at work. I had a job where I couldn't bring my phone into the office, and I just had a little MP3 player, and I just uploaded a bunch of podcasts. And I thought about okay, if we do a podcast, I want to do something that's quick, a little 30-minute podcast that people can listen to on their lunch break, right? That's where people like to talk about sports and whatnot. So that's where the name came from. And then, we recorded, and then, like, even when we first started recording, we realized we needed more than half an hour. It'd be like an hour and a half of us recording just audio. And then, we were trying to grow the audio podcast, and we were looking up, how do you do that? So then we're like, okay, we need to get a website. So then we got a website. Then it's like, oh, we should get on YouTube. And we got on YouTube, and they're like, okay, well, we got to be on camera. And then it just started manifesting from there. And they're like, okay, if we're going to put out videos, maybe we'll put them out around lunchtime. But then, we didn't want to pay for an editor. So then it was on my time, and it just came out any time. And then finally we decided that we're going to do a live show, but it had to be when we were both available, and it was at nighttime. So we kept the name, but we stream at nighttime, so.
Yeah, long story short, we have put out 0 shows that are 30 minutes.
Yeah. I can relate. Hey, man, for me, this was just going to be 15 minutes a week, man. 15 minutes a week to sell some jerseys, and it's turned into like me and my wife were just arguing about me in front of the camera, getting tired of like live stream. Like, so I get it. Once you start, man, you want to get everything squared away. Right? Like you're not a Ravens fan, yes? I mean, you are. Are you a Baltimorean? That's just not.
No. We moved around a lot. I was actually born in Alaska. Well, both of our parents are in the Navy, so we kind of hopped around a lot when we were younger. I had been initially like very, very young an Eagles fan just because Randall Cunningham, that was my guy. And then they benched Randall Cunningham. I was like, screw y'all. And I was like, okay, we at that point we were living at Fort Meade. So I was like, okay, I'll root for Washington. And the posse, the Ricky Sanders and Gary Clark and Art Monk and all that. And as I grew up and started to learn about football, I was like, I don't want to be a Washington fan. And so I didn't have a fan at that point. I didn't have a team at that point. And it was right around the time when the Jaguars and the Panthers were coming into the league. And I was like, all right, I've always been an NFC fan. I like the NFC more. So whichever one of them lands in the NFC, that's who I'm going to roll with. So I've been a Panthers fan since their inception. And I mean, listen, I'm not going to say that it's been a bad time, but it hasn't been the best. I probably could have made a better decision back in '95. But
I saw where the 2 podcasters quit. I don't know.
Oh
yeah. They like, man, we quit, man. They ain't gonna be no more there.
They went on a winning streak right after that. They tried to come back, and everybody was like, "Nah, son.
No.
You got to stay going."
So where do you guys envision taking this? You guys have been at it for a minute. You've had, more success than most.
Appreciate it.
I think, like, in terms of that, you guys have been around for a minute. Where do you guys see this is going forward as well? Because you guys have been at it for a while.
Yeah, this is our 6th year. It's our 6th year. We have high expectations. I'll put it that way, and not. I mean, yes, we plan on growing on YouTube more. I think this will be our best year by far. But also, like, I preach to every content creator that we talk to that don't throw all your eggs in the YouTube basket. Diversify, build your own platforms, or build on multiple platforms. So we have our website, lbhtshow.com. We're putting in a lot of work behind the scenes to get people to visit that. I think it's going to pay off. But we're building a brand. We're building a strong brand. We're trying to build our own platform, and I think we're really going to take off.
Is it harder for us as Black men in the football space? I see a lot of them they kind of when you're doing basketball, that's who the audience is, right? Us, right? Yeah. Who watches the NBA? As Black men, do you think it's more difficult for us to succeed in football or anything talking about in the
as a content creator? As Black content creators is going to be difficult, and that's how the algorithm is. Like, there have been articles done about this, how like YouTube naturally pushes white content creators over the Black content creators doing the same niche. So we can put out the same quality content as our white counterparts, but their stuff is going to get pushed more than ours, and that's why you build your own platform, right? Like, so
it's not to take anything away from anybody else. Everybody who's doing this is working really hard at it, but like, There's times when it can be kind of disheartening, right? Where you've been doing it for a while, and then you see somebody else who just gets started, and they turn on their camera, and there's 1,000 subs there waiting, and it's like, wow, that easy. pretty
well,
incredible.
and again, like it's no fault of their own, but like you see. Like there's like we get it all the time. Like there are people that just now discovering us that'll watch some of these other channels, and the algorithm never suggests our stuff to them. And then when they finally get to our channel, they're like, oh damn, why am I just now finding you? Right? Yeah. That's just how it's set up. So it's none of our faults. It's none of their faults either. It's just that's how YouTube works.
And I do want to say also, when we were very, 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 very small, we were just starting out. Like we had under 30 subs at one point. Engraven reached out to us, and Joe Nubo at the time.
Shout out to Joe Nubo.
Yeah. They both reached out to us and had us on the show, and that really, I think, helped us out early on. So appreciate those guys. I know Joe hasn't been doing it for a while, but Engraven's still doing his thing every single day. 17 to 20 videos.
He's goated at that point. He's
yeah.
And never really is negative ever. Never really seen, like, not to the point of, like, if he's really negative on somebody, you really playing bad. Because
and so we got shout out Sonny too, SCG Sports.
Yes.
Sonny was actually the first person I reached out to when we were thinking about doing the audio podcast. And then we our first version of our website, we used to write articles, and I remember like we did our mock draft, wrote articles on the site. Sonny used to read the articles on his channel, so like we really appreciate Sonny. And Sonny's still around. Like he has his channel, but like he really invests in AFC North Talk with those folks over there. But shout out to them. But yeah, Engraven, SCG Sports, Joe Nubo, like those three like really helped us out in the beginning.
And tell the people where to find you that haven't seen your podcast like me all the time.
Hey, Lunch Break Hot Take. We try to make ourselves SEO friendly. So if you Google Lunch Break Hot Take, we will pop up. We're on social media just about everywhere. Same tag at LBHT Show. As you see right there on the screen, lbhtshow.com is our website, and you should go there right now. If you're into pick'em leagues, we have one pick'em league that we want everybody to sign up for. Absolutely free. Takes 30 seconds to sign up for an account, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be very interactive this season. So check it out.
All right. And these guys are the respectful portion of the barbershop. When I see y'all talking, y'all argue, but y'all just keep it down a little bit. Y'all not in the deep corner, but y'all kind of in the y'all kind of like that. Thank you guys for taking the time. I've been waiting for this for a while, and I appreciate you guys taking the time. Thank all of you out there for watching the Ravori Sports Conversation. Like and subscribe to all of our social media content. Thank you guys, and you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
for having us.